Hey, messy friends. Tiffany here with just two ways in which you can add journaling to your art journals. Lately, I have been journaling in these tiny little A6 journals, and they're kind of a hodgepodge of art journaling, junk journaling, and memory keeping. And a lot of the times, I just find that I write a lot, and it's just a way to get my stories told. It's a way to get my feelings out. I find it to be very therapeutic, and I know, like many art journalers, we tend to prioritize the art instead of the journaling, and I just kind of wanted to show you a couple of ways in which you can get that journaling into your journals. So one way you can add some of your journaling onto your art journal spreads is by using it as a base, as a foundation for a page or a spread. And so I am using a waterproof pen here to kind of just journal out my feelings. These were very hard feelings that I was having, and so I just journaled them really sloppily, really quickly onto the page. And then I am scraping on some white paint. You can use a different color paint, you can use gesso, whatever you want. I'm just kind of making a really messy background, and I've added some white ink splatters too. So once I've let that all dry, I am collaging a kind of scrappy little cluster here using a photo of myself. So this is a recent photo of myself. I like including photos of me, my family, my friends and stuff into my journals. And why not use it in your art journal too? Because these are all little books of our story, right? So this is a recent selfie that I took while feeling these feelings in the moment, and I am just collaging different doilies, different scrap pieces of paper. I have a piece of fabric that I'm also clustering here, and I am just building up a little cluster. I'm not afraid to kind of get a little, I guess, scrapbooky with my art journal page here. And you can see that I am literally just covering up all of that journaling. So your journaling does not actually have to be visible in your art journal spreads, but it's really nice to get those feelings down with words onto the page. Once I have my little cluster, I am just adding a couple of stickers and then some scribbles with some graphite, and then that is done. And so I am using the other side to kind of journal out some positive affirmations for myself, and those are the words that are going to be visible on this page. So the journaling in the background was very hard, very difficult feelings to process and to go through, and I've covered those up. And now I'm just leaving myself with a little bit of positivity, a little positive affirmations onto my page. Just, little phrases for me to remember right here, right now, in this moment. And so this is a very quick little spread that you can try out in your own art journals. And so the next idea I have of adding more journaling to an art journal spread is literally to create a place to journal. And so I started this spread off by creating my base, by creating the background, and I'm just scraping on some white paint. And I like scraping on the paint because it adds like a very thin layer to my page. And now I'm going in with different shades of a minty green acrylic paint, and I am just creating a background. I'm literally just creating a base for my words. And so I have here a letter that I wrote to somebody that I never actually sent, and that's kind of a therapeutic way to get words out too, if you need to tell somebody something and maybe not vocalize it, but vocalize it for yourself and then just never send the letter. So I am taking pieces of that letter and I am putting them on my page. I'm gluing them down. I'm actually going over with a bit of matte medium just to make sure that they're secure. And I'm just covering them up too. So your words don't have to be visible on your page, especially if they're hard and difficult words. But you'll see here that even though I'm covering up the words from the letter, I'm using it to create a space for more words. So I'm adding a bit more paint, and I do believe that I go in with some graphite. So I'm taking a pencil and I'm just making a frame. I'm outlining a frame, and my paint is still wet, and so it's a nice texture that it adds. And of course I'm adding a bit more paint splatters because this is messy and it's fun. And so once my page dried, I am basically going to create a little frame, a little wreath, so that I can add my journaling to the center of this spread. And so I am taking different shades of pink and I am creating some beautiful flowers. And so what I end up actually journaling here is not so much more feelings, but basically something that I did one day that I have been putting off doing that was very difficult. And so if there's a pattern here, I like to use my journals as a way to get out really hard and difficult feelings. And I find, we can get those feelings out without making ourselves feel, I guess, bad about them or sad about them. Or when we look back on things, we can see them for what they were and ultimately what we've learned from them. And so I am making my page really cheerful and bright, and I'm using some flowers. Spring is here, and that is just a time to kind of, rejuvenate and grow from these really, really hard and tough experiences. And so I am just adding different colors, and like, I'm not being perfect with this. These flowers are a bit little splotches and a little messy, and my paint is still wet while I'm adding a bunch of things around this wreath. But I'm basically using that pencil sketch as my guide. So once that's dried, I've created a little frame to do my journaling. And so I am using the center portion of my spread here to just write out what happened on this day. I'm writing out my feelings, I'm writing out what I did, and that is a simple way to add some more journaling to your art journal pages and really have it as the main focus, but not really, right? It's more of a decorative element within the frame of flowers. So I really hope that these two ways inspire you to do more journaling, add more words and writing onto your art journal spreads.